Avada Kedavra. Avada Kedavra, or the Death Curse, is one of the darkest spells in Harry Potter. You can always tell when it has been cast. The room goes still, a green flash cuts through the air, and whoever it strikes stops breathing. We've seen it over and over, from Voldemort pointing his wand at Harry's parents to Bellatrix laughing as she kills Sirius. Every time this spell is cast, life ends instantly. There's no scream, no wound, nothing, just silence. The killing curse doesn't leave a mark because it doesn't attack the body. It snuffs out the soul, and no amount of magic can stop it. Not Prodigo, not even Dumbledore's skill could block it. The only known exception was Harry's survival, protected by his mother's sacrifice, something ancient, something no spellbook can ever teach. Casting Avada Kedavra isn't as easy as yelling the words. You have to want someone dead, completely. That's why even skilled wizards fail to use it. It feeds on intent, on hatred so deep that your soul becomes a weapon. That's exactly why most people could never cast it, and why the ones who can are the reason Hogwarts teaches what not to become. Crucio. When Bellatrix Lestrange tortured Hermione in Deathly Hallows Part 1, the screams filled the whole mansion. That wasn't random violence, that was Crucio, the Cruciatus Curse, one of the most disturbing creations in magical history. Unlike Avada Kedavra, this spell doesn't kill, it makes you wish it did. Every nerve in your body feels like it's on fire, your mind shatters, and the pain keeps going until the caster decides you've had enough. It doesn't draw blood or leave scars, but it destroys people from the inside out. Just look at Neville Longbottom's parents, once brave auras, now permanently broken after being tortured by Bellatrix until their minds couldn't take it anymore. What makes Crucio even darker is what it demands. You can't cast it in anger, you have to enjoy it. The curse only works if you mean to cause pain and take satisfaction in doing it. That's why when Harry tried using it on Bellatrix, it barely worked. He hated her, sure, but he didn't take pleasure in her suffering. That's the cruel truth of Crucio. It doesn't just torture its victim, it reveals exactly how twisted the caster's soul really is. Imperio. If there's one spell that shows just how fragile free will can be, it's the Imperious Curse. It takes control of your mind and body, and worst of all, it makes you happy about it. Victims under Imperio don't feel trapped, they feel calm, content. They'll rob banks, betray their friends, or walk into danger smiling. It's one of the most sinister curses because it turns people into puppets and they don't even realize it's happening. During Voldemort's rise, Imperio was everywhere. Entire departments in the Ministry of Magic were compromised, filled with people unknowingly doing his bidding. Even Barty Crouch Sr. used it on his own son, keeping him imprisoned for years. That's how deep its control runs. It can twist love, family, and loyalty until nothing's left. And the only way to break free? Willpower strong enough to fight your own mind. Harry managed it in Moody's class, but most never do. Imperio doesn't take your life, it steals your freedom, and in many ways that's an even darker kind of death. Fiendfire. Out of every forbidden spell out there, Fiendfire might be the one even dark wizards regret knowing. If you've seen Deathly Hallows Part 2, you know the scene at the Room of Requirement, with everything burning and flames turning into monstrous shapes that chase Harry, Ron, and Hermione. That's Fiendfire. It's not normal fire, it's alive. Once it's unleashed, it grows and grows, taking the form of dragons, serpents, and creatures made entirely of flame. It doesn't stop, it doesn't care who cast it, and it devours everything in sight. Even Voldemort's followers avoided it. When Crabbe cast Fiendfire, he thought he could control it. Instead, the fire turned on him, burned through the castle, and ultimately destroyed Ravenclaw's diadem, one of Voldemort's Horcruxes. The irony? It did what even Dumbledore struggled to do, but it cost Crabbe his life. Fiendfire is chaos given form. It's what happens when power outgrows control, when arrogance meets consequence. It doesn't serve its caster, it consumes them, and that's why even the darkest wizards fear it. Sectum Sempra. We first see the real horror of Sectum Sempra in Half-Blood Prince, when Harry whips it out during a fight with Draco Malfoy. He shouts the spell, and within seconds Draco is bleeding out across the bathroom floor. It's shocking even for Harry. There's no flash of light, no loud explosion, just invisible blades tearing into flesh. Sectum Sempra isn't an ancient curse, it's homegrown dark magic. Severus Snape invented it himself when he was a student at Hogwarts, scribbling it into the margins of his potions textbook. The curse acts like an unseen sword, slicing through its target with surgical precision. It doesn't just cut, it maims, and unless you know the counterspell, Vulnera Sanentor, the victim can bleed out in seconds. Snape was the only one who knew how to reverse its effects, which is the only reason Draco survived. What's unsettling about Sectum Sempra is how brutal it is. No drama, no spectacle, just the cold, efficient kind of violence you'd expect from someone who spent his life walking the line between light and dark. Mors Mordra, the green skull, the serpent slithering from its mouth. You can't think of Voldemort without picturing it hanging in the night sky. Mors Mordra, the spell that conjures the dark mark, wasn't created to kill or torture. It was created to terrorize. Every time that mark appeared, it meant one thing. Death had already happened. In the Goblet of Fire, when the Death Eaters launch it into the air above the Quidditch World Cup, you can see the panic it spreads instantly. It's a promise that the Dark Lord's followers have been there and someone didn't make it out alive. During the First Wizarding War, the mark became a calling card, a way for Voldemort to brand the world with fear, reminding everyone that no one was safe. And it wasn't just for show. Every Death Eater bore a smaller version of it burned into their skin, linking them directly to him. When he wanted to summon them, the mark burned. That connection was both a bond and a chain of loyalty enforced by terror. Inferius Animation. There's a reason Dumbledore called them the foulest creatures that walk the earth. The Inferi are corpses brought back to life through dark magic, not like ghosts or spirits, but actual dead bodies reanimated to serve their master. We see them in Half-Blood Prince when Harry and Dumbledore travel to that eerie underground cave. The moment Harry disturbs the water, pale hands shoot out from the darkness and drag him under. Those weren't monsters or demons, they were people. People whose bodies had been stolen and turned into weapons. The spell that creates them isn't fully explained, but it's one of Voldemort's specialities. He filled that lake with hundreds of them to guard one of his Horcruxes, using death itself as his security system. The worst part? Inferi don't feel pain, fear, or hesitation. They just obey. The only reliable defense against them is fire, which they instinctively avoid. Dumbledore proves that when he drives them back with a wall of flames. But that image is a reminder of just how far Voldemort went. He didn't just conquer life, he tried to own death. Horcrux creation. This is the spell that turned Voldemort into something less than human. The act of creating a Horcrux is never shown on screen, but its effects are everywhere. Every piece of his soul scattered across cursed objects, each one pulsing with dark energy. The diary, the ring, the locket, all born from the same unspeakable ritual. To make a Horcrux, a wizard has to commit murder. The act of killing tears the soul apart, and with a forbidden incantation, the caster seals a fragment of it inside an object. That's what makes Horcruxes so evil. It's not just murder, it's mutilation of the soul. The more Horcruxes you make, the less human you become. That's why Tom Riddle slowly turned into the snake-faced creature we know as Voldemort. His humanity literally decayed away. The process is so horrific that no book dares to describe it in full. The only known text that mentioned it is The Secrets of the Darkest Art, which was banned from Hogwarts centuries ago. Even most dark wizards refused to go near it. What's haunting is that each Horcrux carries a piece of its creator's consciousness. The diary that possessed Ginny Weasley in Chamber of Secrets wasn't just enchanted, it was alive. That's why destroying Horcruxes is so difficult. You're not just breaking an object, you're killing a piece of a soul. The Taboo Jinx. During Deathly Hallows Part 1, when Harry, Ron and Hermione are on the run, there's that moment when Harry accidentally says Voldemort's name, and instantly, snatchers appear out of nowhere. That wasn't a coincidence. That was the Taboo Jinx in action. It's one of the most ingenious and terrifying pieces of magic Voldemort ever used. He literally weaponized his own name. Anyone brave or foolish enough to say Voldemort out loud automatically revealed their location, no matter how powerful their protective charms were. The taboo didn't just track sound, it ripped through spells and defenses, breaking any magical barrier around the speaker. It turned Voldemort's name into a magical tripwire. Say it, and you were done for. That's how the Snatchers caught the trio in the woods, dragging them straight to Malfoy Manor. The Unbreakable Vow. Now, few spells carry the same weight as the Unbreakable Vow. It looks simple. just two people holding hands while a third binds them with glowing threads of fire. But beneath that moment is something far deadlier. Once sealed, breaking the vow doesn't just end the agreement, it ends your life, instantly. We see this in Half-Blood Prince when Severus Snape swears the vow with Narcissa Malfoy. She begs him to protect Draco, and Snape agrees, fully aware that if he fails, he dies. You can actually see it in his face, that flicker of hesitation right before the fire wraps around their hands. It's not just a promise anymore, it's a death sentence waiting to happen. The magic behind it is ancient, tied to intent and life force. When the vow is broken, those fiery chains don't disappear, they ignite from within. The body seizes and the person dies on the spot. It's rare and sacred magic, usually used by the most desperate or devoted witches and wizards, because there's no undoing it. Legilimency. The first time we truly see legilimency at work is in the Order of the Phoenix, when Snape tries to teach Harry occlumency. Those scenes are hard to watch, Harry's memories flashing by, his emotions laid bare, Snape's cold voice telling him to control his mind. That's legilimency. The power to look inside someone's thoughts, pull out their secrets, and even plant false images if you're skilled enough. Voldemort mastered it long before most wizards even knew it existed. It's how he could sense fear and betrayal without a word. It's how he manipulated people, not through force, but through their own emotions. You didn't need to speak to him. Your mind already betrayed you. For the victim, the experience is like being stripped of privacy, of self. The walls in your head fall apart, and suddenly your worst memories, your hidden fears, everything you thought was safe is laid out for someone else to see. That's why occlumency, the counter-skill, is so important. It's the only defense. Snape's lessons with Harry weren't just about technique. They were a battle between two minds scarred by the same man. Every failed attempt made their connection to Voldemort stronger, until the line between them began to blur. Legilimency isn't just about reading minds, it's about domination, one thought at a time. Memory charms. If you ever doubted how dangerous memory charms could be, think back to Deathly Hallows Part 1. The movie opens with Hermione standing in her living room whispering "Obliviate" to her parents. In an instant, every photo of her fades. She erases herself from their memories completely. It's one of the most emotional scenes in the entire series, and it perfectly captures how devastating this magic can be. Obliviate isn't inherently evil. It's used by the Ministry's Obliviators to keep the wizarding world secret. But in the wrong hands, it becomes terrifying. With a single spell, someone can rewrite your past, change who you love, what you remember, or who you think you are. We've seen how it can go horribly wrong, too. Gilderoy Lockhart was a master of the charm, at least until his own backfired in Chamber of Secrets, leaving him with a mind so scrambled he couldn't even remember his own name. But that was an accident. Imagine it being done deliberately, piece by piece, until your entire life becomes someone else's design. Memory charms show just how fragile identity really is. They don't need to kill you or hurt you to destroy you. They can erase you completely, and you'd never even know it happened.